is to give students the opportunity to come into Boise State and be successful. So our goal is to make sure that when you come into Boise State, you leave with your degree. So that's the big idea. We definitely want every student at Boise State and in the TRIO program to feel like they have the tools they need to be successful, and they have the tools they need to actually get the degree that they're wanting to get. So a little bit specifically about the TRIO Rising Scholars program. So we offer academic tutoring. So you are able to get tutors throughout your whole time at Boise State as long as you're in the TRIO program. So the TRIO program, you are in it from the moment you apply and get accepted into the program until you graduate. So you're in TRIO your entire time at Boise State. So you can get a tutor anytime. From the TRIO program. You're allowed 2 tutors a semester. Typically, these tutors are for 100 or 200 level courses. Typically, once you get up into the 300-400 level courses, it's harder to get a tutor, but we do have exceptions for classes like organic chemistry, which is a 300 level course, and you can get a tutor for that. But mostly it is 100 and 200 level courses. And like I said, you are able to get up to 2 tutors a semester, and the program pays for this. So there's no out-of-pocket cost to get a tutor from TRIO. And kind of like I mentioned a little bit earlier, TRIO also helps build community and leadership skills. So this kind of gets into the next 2 bullet points. You are assigned an academic advisor. So this is an advisor that is kind of knowledgeable, maybe not specifically in your major, but in majors similar to that. So we have 2 academic advisors for TRIO Rising Scholars. One of them kind of takes more of the business and science background, and the other one is kind of more of the social sciences and arts. So they've both been doing advising for a long time, and that was one of my favorite parts about being in TRIO, actually, was the advisor. So you get an academic advisor, and you also get a peer mentor. This is somebody who's at least a sophomore, if not junior or senior, who ideally has a major similar to what you're majoring in, and kind of helps you with all sorts of different stuff. So all 4 of us in this meeting right now are peer mentors for the program. We help with scholarship finding, we help you find clubs, we help you find really anything that you need. So the advisor and the peer mentor is meant to be kind of the go-to person in the program. And then also there are scholarship opportunities that you are eligible for being in TRIO. So there's a couple of different scholarships that if you're in TRIO, you can apply for. So that's another thing that we offer kind of broadly, our services for the program. So yeah, program details. Yeah, we serve about 180 students each year. So as our students graduate from the program, we accept more students in. And yeah, they represent all 6 of the academic colleges, including the Honors College. So TRIO, students in TRIO Rising Scholars are coming from almost every major. One thing specifically though, if you are looking to be a teacher or majoring in education, we have actually a separate TRIO program for that. So if that is one of your interests, we can kind of talk about that towards the end. There is a separate program called TRIO Teacher Prep. But other than that, the TRIO Rising Scholars program serves all majors, so any major in any college. And kind of like what I mentioned earlier, we employ roughly 50 student tutors in all major fields. So our tutor coordinator works really hard to make sure if there's a class that you're struggling in that you can get a tutor for it. So we really strive to make sure that if you need assistance in a class that we can get a tutor to kind of help you out with that. And also our 2019 cohort rate had a 75% graduation rate. So we do find that students who are in TRIO Rising Scholars do tend to have a higher graduation rate than the university as a whole. So like I said earlier, our big goal is to make sure that when you leave Boise State, you're leaving with your degree that you want to have. So now kind of briefly going into our eligibility. So TRIO Rising Scholars enrolls first-year students, so it's your first year ever in college, you're coming straight out of high school, or transfer students. And sometimes we do have students, if you're in, you come to Boise State for 1 year then you can also apply for TRIO. But the majority of the students that we serve are either straight out of high school or they're a transfer student from another college. So for students to be eligible, we are looking for students who are the first in their families to attend college. A lot of the times you'll hear this referred to as first-generation students. So if your parents don't have a college degree, you are eligible for our program. We are also looking at students who are eligible for the Pell Grant. So this is kind of students who are coming from a limited income background. So typically, if you are receiving the Pell Grant or eligible to receive the Pell Grant, you are kind of fall under that limited income category. And then the last kind of category that we're looking at is students with documented disabilities. So if you are any one of those three things, you don't have to be all three, you can be one or more. You are eligible for our program. I do want to say that also you do have to be a citizen of the United States to be in the program. So that's just kind of one thing that is one of the first questions that we actually ask if you do go to look to apply on the website. But yeah, if you're any one of those three things, you are eligible for the program. So I just kind of quickly, before the four of us introduce ourselves, I want to kind of show you guys the website. So So this is the TRIO Rising Scholars website. You can find this by typing into Google TRIO Rising Scholars Boise State. This is probably going to be the first thing that comes up. So this is just our main webpage. This is all of our peer mentors for this year with the president of Boise State. So you can find a lot of different stuff on our webpage, but if you're looking for the application, we have an application tab, so you can go ahead and just click on that and kind of read a little bit about our program, what we expect of you, what we're committing to you, and then you can, by answering this question, and then it asks you if you are a citizen, you'll go straight into the application. So if you kind of like what you heard today, maybe you want to check out our website and check out our application. So what we're going to do now is just have the four peer mentors here kind of introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about our personal experiences in the program, and then we can kind of open it up for you guys' questions. I guess I'll start since I was talking. So I'm Juliana. I am in my fourth year at Boise State. I'm doing 5. I'm studying biology. I was in educational talent search in high school. So if you're familiar with TRIO, so I went straight from TRIO in high school to TRIO in college. And I kind of follow along those lines of that first slide that I showed. I really feel like TRIO was life-changing for me. I've been peer mentoring. This is my 3rd year peer mentoring. I've met a lot of different students, and it's been really fun meeting students and helping students with whatever they need, and also having students help me with things. So I really enjoyed the academic advisor that I had, and TRIO brings you to a lot of different places that you wouldn't expect it would. So I actually was lucky enough to study in Washington, D.C. on a TRIO scholarship. So there's a lot of kind of hidden benefits of TRIO that we don't outwardly talk about. But by being in TRIO, you're eligible for a lot of different things. For example, we have study abroad scholarships specifically for TRIO students. So TRIO has been, kind of one of my favorite things about Boise State, which is really awesome. I don't know if one of the other peer mentors wants to share their experience.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin. I'm a junior at Boise State, and I had kind of a different TRIO story. I definitely, at my high school, there wasn't a TRIO program, and I did not hear about it initially through academic professionals like teachers and stuff and counselors. I heard it through friends and family that encouraged me to look into TRIO as I was going into Boise State. And during my summer orientation back in 2017, I met Anna, which is our boss, and was my academic advisor during that first year. And she highly encouraged me to look at all sorts of opportunities and really pushed me as an academic and to eventually apply as a peer mentor. And so this program has actually been very life-changing, as Julie said, because it's pushed me to become a more active person in my community and within this program, which is super cool. And now I'm definitely reapplying for next year, and I'm looking forward to this program's growth. And my major is business, so I always like to intermingle with everyone in that community too. So thanks, everyone.
All right, well, good afternoon. My name is Giovanni Rodriguez. Currently in Virginia right now, finishing up my 4-year enlistment in the Air Force. I'm also a business major. I first heard about TRIO back in high school. I'm a bit older. I graduated high school in 2011. I went to college in Southern Idaho part-time because I was a first generation. I was, growing up in a working household. So I was, supposed to provide for my family while going to school at nighttime at our small little CSI campus. And I just go home once a year back to Idaho due to either deployments or just work schedule. It's not kind of simple. You can't just submit leave and, expect to leave. But whenever I manage to go back home, I do like to go to Twin Falls on CSI campus. And I met with a Boise State recruiter, Brian, I forgot his last name, but he's also a veteran. He told me, hey, one of the hardest thing about transitioning back to civilian life is, make sure you have a good foundation, whether, you join a club, join a fraternity, you join intramural sports, or just something. Just make sure that, because a lot of my friends, I'm 26 right now, so a lot of my friends have already graduated high school or college, working on their master's. So they told me, hey, if you have friends in college, make sure you connect with them. But if you know you're going to be by yourself as a veteran, make sure you reach out to any organization, TRIO, VA, go to fun events, go to sporting events. Just make sure you're not by yourself, because that's one of the worst things you can do to yourself as a transitioning veteran. We want to make sure also you succeed as a civilian, but make sure you get your degree, which is why I ended up enlisting in the first place. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'll go next. So I'm Paulina. I'm going to be a junior this upcoming semester, and this is my first year as a peer mentor, but I've been part of the TRIO program since I was a freshman in high school with TRIO Upper Bound, and so I've kept my roots. My sisters were also part of the TRIO Upper Bound program when they were in high school, and so my whole family has graduated thanks to TRIO. And so without TRIO, I honestly probably wouldn't be in college, because thanks to TRIO, I found a lot of scholarships, a lot of new opportunities for personal growth, as well as I plan to study abroad. And so I plan to apply for the scholarship for the study abroad program through TRIO. I've helped a lot of people, mentees with things they need. Anna kind of has been my savior this whole time, which is my advisor. She kind of is my root to everything. If I have a question about anything, she's make sure she knows the answer. Planning my schedule, she's always on top of it. With my whole study abroad thing that's going on with coronavirus and stuff, she's kind of been my guide and been even if things change, we'll work through it. And it's kind of just always there. And so that's kind of what TRIO's about, is always having a support system, a family to go to if you have any questions, or you just want to hang out with one of us. You're always free to reach out to anybody, and everyone's always super cool with hanging out. We try to plan a lot of events for you guys to feel more involved in the community and kind of just find new opportunities for you guys as well. And so yeah, I don't know, Adriana, do you want to go next?
Sure. Good thing I realized that I was muted. Well, my name is Adriana. I'm a third-year student. This is my first year being a peer mentor, and I am planning on coming back next year too, so I'm reapplying. My story is a little bit different because I moved to the US when I was 17, so I didn't have a TRIO program when I was in high school, because I just did my senior year here, and I applied to VSU, and then I met Anna my first year. And even though I wasn't in the program, she was willing to help me. So she helped me getting things figured out. So I initially reached out to her because I wanted to kind of get a tutor, because I was struggling with one class. And so she helped me with that class, because it was just a lot of writing and it was kind of hard for me. So I met with her, and she was very nice. It was like the first time that I met her, and she told me about the program. So I joined the program my sophomore year. Like I applied that at the end of my freshman year, and I joined my sophomore year. And then my experience in the program made me want to apply to be a peer mentor. So that's what I applied to be a peer mentor this year. And yeah, I agree with everything that the other 3 peer mentors have said. It's really life-changing because you really find a support system with Trio, and I think that definitely makes a difference once you're in college. It's not just, we struggle with classes sometimes, but I feel like sometimes it's not just college itself that it's hard. It's like having to deal with many things at a time, and like I said, having that support system makes that difference. And knowing that you have someone that you can reach out to, if like the advisors get many students sometimes, and they try to meet with you, they really do their best at doing that. And if they're not available, or if they feel like you can talk to someone that would help you more in that specific thing that you're struggling with, like they will refer you to someone else, and I think that's pretty helpful too.
Awesome. So I don't know if Ayana, if you would like to introduce yourself, you're welcome to. If not, we can open it up if you guys have any questions, or so feel free to turn on your mic, or you can type it out in the chat. We're also looking at that. So if there's any questions or anything that you guys want to know about Trio, anything like that, feel free to ask.
I'm not going to turn on my video, but
No
I'm
problem.
Ayana, and I've been in Upward Bound since my freshman year. I live in North Idaho, and my parents are, like, I'm first generation, low income, and Upward Bound definitely is the reason that I figured out that Boise State was even an option, because I was really worried about paying for it, and they really pushed me, and I spent every day in my, like, counselor's office, like, figuring out what to do and how to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that's, definitely a common feeling for most of us in Trio, kind of going through, whether we were in Trio in high school or Trio now, is, how do we pay for college and how do we do these things? So Trio definitely helped me in high school and continued to help me throughout college. So do either of you guys have maybe specific questions about the services that we offer, or the application process, or any types of questions like that?
I am currently filling out the application while we're doing this, so I don't have any questions.
Okay, cool.
I'm free to apply for this program, right? Or do I need to apply specifically for Trio veterans or?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. When you said that you were enlisted, that's kind of what I was thinking about. You are definitely, whether you're enlisted or not, you're eligible for Trio Rising Scholars. I guess I would encourage you to maybe do a little bit of research on the Upward. It's called Trio Veterans Upward Bound, I think. Okay. Is the name of the program. Like I said, all 4 of us work for Trio Rising Scholars, so we're mostly knowledgeable on the Rising Scholars or the teacher prep program. So I'm not as familiar on the Veterans Upward Bound, but I know it exists. So I would encourage you to maybe do a Google search on both the programs and kind of see which one maybe is going to fit best with what you're looking for. Because based off kind of what you said earlier, you're eligible for Rising Scholars if that's the program that you'd like to go with. But like I said, I'm not as familiar on the Veterans Upward Bound. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I don't know if any of the other peer mentors have any kind of other topics they want to mention. Anything else we want to say? I think we kind of all covered it in our.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Ayana, you already said you're filling out the application, so that's awesome. If you have any questions, if you looked on our website and you went to advising, they actually have the emails of some of our advisors. So those are great people to go to with just questions before you apply. So maybe if you don't have questions now, if you have questions later, you can look on our website. Like I said, Trio Rising Scholars, Boise State. If you just Google that, it will be the first thing that comes up. And you can find some contact information there if you have questions later on. Yeah, so if there's no other questions now, yeah, definitely feel free to log off. But wanted to make sure we answer everything that you guys had.